Hello, good morning, guys. Good morning or good afternoon. I know it's one of them. But anyway, I wanted to go over with you this morning about how my daughter Chastity was first diagnosed with cerebral palsy. Um, and I'm going to, go into some details about exactly what cerebral palsy is. So, Chastity was born in 2004. She was a preemie, not by that many months. I think she was like 34 or 35 weeks old when she was born. Um, she was in NICU, but she didn't have any like symptoms of anything being extremely wrong at the time. Not that I saw or nothing that I was told. She did have jaundice. That's about the only thing I remember. They kept her for a little while, and I'm going to post some pictures of her and stuff. But first of all, cerebral palsy is caused by either brain damage or the brain not developing properly. Um, and a damage could happen either in the womb or on the outside of the womb. Um, the type of cerebral palsy Chastity has is spastic, and it means that it causes her muscles to be tighter than what they're supposed to be. And I noticed something going on when she was supposed to be making her developmental marks. I want to say between 3 months and 6 months, she wasn't developmentally doing the things that she was supposed to do. And I remember one day noticing that her body was like extra stiff. And Chastity is my first child, she's the oldest. But even though I was a first time mother, I realized that her body was unusually stiff for a child. You know how some children tighten their hands up and they're released? She was just always tight. There was never any release. Just her tone was always tight. So that was my first red flag. She wasn't sitting up. Like she didn't make any of her developmental markers. So we brought her in, I think, to a developmental pediatrician. And they took a look at her and they said that it was a possibility. Now, this is the same hospital she was born in. So, for whatever reason, I know she was still young. So, I don't know if they thought she was still young, but they didn't feel the need to give her a diagnosis at that time. I don't think that they thought maybe she was too young or they wanted to see if maybe there was something else going on. And she had started getting like therapy coming to the house and everything. And at that time, she was supposed to get, I think, an MRI of her brain. And during this time, we were in Louisiana, so they were dragging their feet doing the MRI. But I remember like Katrina happened. So she was getting therapy and stuff, and Katrina happened, and we had to evacuate. Um, so we ended up um, going to Texas, and we were in the Houston area, and there I brought her in to get the full evaluation, and they wanted to know why had the doctors taken so long to evaluate her, why had they taken so long to get her started on the services that she needed, because to them they thought it was very obvious what was going on. I mean, she hadn't even had the MRI yet. So I don't know if these people were afraid of maybe being sued or maybe being blamed for what happened. I don't know. But anyway, all of her services started in Houston, Texas. In Houston, Texas. Like they started all of her services and everything. So she couldn't walk. Like she couldn't really do anything. When she started services, she was like commando crawling. I don't know if you know what that is. That's like scooting, like pulling yourself on your two legs and scooting around. So she was doing that. She wasn't talking. Now she has never talked. Like she vocalizes, but she doesn't talk. And she's spastic, so she has like this real tight muscle tone. So anyway, she got her diagnosis and she started getting physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. They put her in braces. And then she also had a wheelchair. She started off with a walker so she could learn how to walk. So I don't think Chastity started walking until like 1.5, almost 2 years old, and that was with the assistance of braces. And also, people that tend to have cerebral palsy, they can either be spastic, which is tight tone, or they can have low tone, which means their tone is really, really loose. Okay, so some of the side effects that she has now that she's older, so she's having issues with her hips. She has like feet deformities, and she's still walking, guys, but it's like impossible for her to wear braces now. She doesn't tolerate the braces because it hurts her feet. She hardly tolerates shoes because of her feet deformities. Okay, so I want to know, what kind of feet deformities does she have? She had some type of deformity of the thigh. I'm gonna try to look over the paperwork. um I think it's called cock of valga. So that means like one of her thighs, it's the bone in her thighs. It has some type of deformity, and then she has these little feet deformities. You can't really see it, but it's like, I guess we could call it contractures. Um, we can basically call it contractures, and she's also autistic. So besides her having all of these orthopedic impairments from her being spastic with cerebral palsy, she also has these behavior issues caused by autism. She wasn't diagnosed with autism until she was like between 11 and 12, because I started noticing behavior changes in her. She was always agitated and just just not being herself. Like, her behavior totally changed, and I think I brought her in to a psychiatrist, and that's where she got her diagnosis at. And it has been a battle since she has gotten older with her behavior. I noticed a big turn in her behavior after puberty. After she turned 12, we have been through a lot. Like, as far as her behaviors, her tantrums, like she would go into like full outrageous. And my daughter is very petite, but she is extremely strong. So imagine somebody of her stature, she will attack you. She goes into this attack mode. And when she first started doing it, you weren't able to touch her. And even if she does it now, if she goes into a tantrum, you can't touch her, or she will attack you. She will attack anybody that's near her, you know. So you have to basically steer clear and make sure that she's safe. Like I posted in one of my videos, I try to post stuff about her everyday life, but everything isn't like nice about what she goes through, especially with the behavior. I find it hard to bring her out to certain places because you never know. It's almost like she's a ticking time bomb. You never know when she's going to get agitated. You never know when she's going to get mad. Because she's nonverbal, she gets frustrated easily. Um, and then some of it is just her not understanding, like her brain doesn't function like ours, right? So if we get frustrated, we know that acting a certain way isn't appropriate because we're angry. But she doesn't understand that. Usually children that are autistic, they don't understand that, especially those that are like have extreme behavior issues, right? They don't really understand that their brain doesn't function that way. So they tend to like, their brain malfunctions when something goes wrong. Like, they don't process their feelings good. So they kind of tend to have a meltdown when they get angry or upset. Their brain is wired differently. So this is a lot of the things I go through. And because of her behavior, sometimes like she can't even get like the services that she needs, because some people don't want to deal with the behavior issues or deal with her attacking them. And it's true, because as her mom, sometimes I don't want to deal with the behavior issues, and I don't want to deal with being attacked. So this is just some of the things we go through on a daily basis. Not all the time, but this is just basically part of her disability. And I feel like that's what we're trying to work on now, trying to see what's best, because she is on all types of different medication, especially for behavior. But there's nothing to really stop her tantrums at this time. And then she also, not only does she hurt other people, she'll hurt herself. Now, again, my daughter is petite. She's like 5'3" and 110 pounds, right? But she is still, when she gets aggressive, it hurts. When she attacks you, it hurts. Is when she attacks you, it doesn't feel like she's 5'3" and 110 pounds. And she's very strong. So this is just some of the things I believe that parents or caregivers, teachers, whomever, go through with kids that are autistic. And also, not only is she autistic, she has cerebral palsy also. So, these are the two disabilities she deals with on a daily basis that kind of, I don't know. It kind of, I don't even know if it's the cerebral palsy that affects her more than the behavior due to the autism, because with the autism and her behavior and her outbursts, she tends not to be able to participate in a lot of things, versus with her having orthopedic impairments that could be fixed, like certain things she can use to help her orthopedic impairments, or certain things they have for handicap. But as far as her behavior, it seems like the hardest thing to try to control and fix. Um, so yeah, this is what I have for you guys today. And I'll keep you posted and updated. She's also supposed to be having surgery. I don't know when. So they done some type of motion testing on her to see how severe um her deformities were in her legs. So remember, with cerebral palsy, it makes your muscles tight. Spastic cerebral palsy makes your muscles tight because it's different types of cerebral palsy. Um, and with her muscles being tight, it also causes deformities in her limbs. So right now she's dealing with deformities, and you won't be able to notice. I guess that's because we know, because of all the x-rays, but you can see that she walks funny. She kind of throws her hip out when she walks, and I think that's the side of the hip on the thigh where she has the deformity in the thigh and the hip. So she kind of, you can see she walks like she has something on her hip, like she throws her hip out when she walks, and she walks funny on her toes also because she has deformities in her feet. So that's just some of the things she go through every day. But she's a trooper, because I haven't seen anything stop my daughter from walking since she's been walking. I have seen her walk with casts on, and it was so funny because she wasn't supposed to be walking, because she did have tendon release and surgery, I think when she was about 10 or 11, and she would get out the wheelchair and walk, stump around with the cast on. She's also had Botox injections, and I think she used to get this yearly. It was either yearly or every 6 months. She would do casting, and she did that up to a certain age until it wasn't helping anymore. And that's when she had the tendon release and surgery. And now, since she's 17, we're going on to a major surgery because she's having, more issues. So these will be the only two surgeries that she's ever had. But this surgery is going to be a big surgery. Like, I think if she has this surgery, she'll be out of commission for a while. And she'll basically have to like get in therapy and relearn to do a lot of things again, because this surgery is supposed to be um enable her to keep walking, because with the deformity she have, if it goes on for too long, it could stop her from walking, and it could put her in a wheelchair, and we don't want to take that away from her. And she loves walking and running. So this is what I have for you guys this morning. This is a day in the life of my daughter with cerebral palsy and her mother, me. I'm her caregiver. I'll try to keep you guys updated on what's going on with her. She's at school right now. She did get not a good note from her teacher saying that she was being aggressive yesterday, and that's just part of it. She has good days. Some days she's fine, and some days she gets very aggressive. in the classroom, and the teacher always notifies me when it happens. So that's it, guys. I'll post some pictures and some more information. If you have questions, please feel free to ask, and please like, share, and subscribe. Talk to you later.